The following is a documentation of a 6 months long experiment of me trying to become an expert pianist just by watching YouTubers. In order to derive the maximal output from this experiment, taking a structured approach is imperative. For that, we'll establish a few ground rules before going ahead. Now, when you start looking for piano tutorials on YouTube, you are most likely going to see an ad for some kind of learning app. Something like,
Day 1 of using the Simply Piano app. Day 5 of using the Simply Piano app.
And the major problem that these apps have is that they have pre-planned lessons as per difficulty levels, and these lessons are based around songs that you don't necessarily get to choose. So what happens is that you spend a lot of time learning songs that you have no interest learning whatsoever. And I only have 6 months to sound like this. Now I don't want to say waste, but after somewhat wasting some time on learning apps, I had come to a realization. Learning piano can have two different meanings. Same way learning cooking can imply two separate things. You can either learn recipes or you can learn about the processes and theories of cooking, about the different types of method, about the different combination of spices, about different classes of ingredients. Knowledge that would be helpful if you are trying to become a pro chef or you're trying to come up with original dishes. However, if your goal is simply to mimic your favorite chef, all that knowledge is not necessary by a long shot. Similarly, if you're trying to replicate your favorite pianist, but becoming a professional is not your goal, then it is my opinion that you don't necessarily have to get into the nitty-gritties of music theories. After this realization, I just put 100% of my efforts in learning songs that made me pick up piano in the first place and ignored everything else. I started making a list of all the songs I wanted to learn by the end of 6 months and started looking at individual tutorials for each of them. After a while, I realized that not all tutorials are made equal. Sometimes you find a tutorial and you realize that this song is probably not for beginners. And it might not be the case for classically trained pianists, but for us self-taught folks, finding the right resource is a part of the skill. Slowly but gradually, my learning system was beginning to take shape. Months into the experiment, I have a decent enough learning system in place. Find a tutorial, write down the notes, break down the notes into sections, master the notes section by section, find another tutorial. As I progressed through the experiment, one change I noticed in myself was that I had lost the childlike gleefulness I had when I first saw the piano. But maybe that's the sacrifice you have to make when developing expertise. It's like being on different sides of a magic trick. The audience is enamored, but the magician who has performed the trick hundreds of times, his eyes remain calm and steady. Another thing that's changed is how I listen to music. While earlier I just enjoyed music, now I find myself subconsciously visualizing how it was played. Earlier I listened to music as a single flow of notes and chords. But now, after having seen music being broken down tens of times, I consume music in blocks. The process of chunking of notes in sections to make it more consumable and memorable has become more autonomous for me. The thing about learning from the internet is you have to be precise about what you're looking for. Otherwise, the recommendation engine will keep you on the platform way longer than you have to be. And this is a time-bound experiment. Not just this, but life itself is a time-bound experiment. Any kind of learning takes place better if you have to do it in a time-bound fashion. At a later point, I will be making a list of best piano teachers on YouTube who have helped me up my game immensely. If you want to see that, subscribe and turn on the notifications. For now, the links to all the content that I found useful is in the description. And this bunch of links is like a mini masterclass. 6 months of learning at your fingertips, ready to be consumed. I'll be doing this for all my future videos as well. If you think that is something you'd benefit from, let the YouTube algorithm know that by hitting the like button. I was ready to step up my game now. The pieces I had been picking up until now all had one thing in common. They all had a single melody played by both hands in part. So the first part of the melody would be played by my left hand and the second part of would be played by my right hand. But both hands were essentially working on creating one single flow of tones. But now I was ready to pick up pieces that were more complicated than that. That means left hand is playing something, right hand is playing something else, and overlap of these two is creating our song. This was the toughest challenge so far and one that I feel created the maximum improvement in me. Not just this, I feel the size of the leap I have been making with every piece keeps getting bigger as I tackle tougher and tougher problems. I should mention that I have also stopped writing down the notes of song at this point before practicing it. And this is what 6 months of piano practice looks like. At this point, I took a break and went away for a vacation. But that gave me the perfect opportunity to test my retention. I was away for 47 days with no access to piano, nor did I spend any time watching anything piano related. I had forgotten a few notes, but muscle memory kicked in as soon as I watched the song once. Other than that, there was a notable compromise on fluency. But I didn't face much trouble getting back up to the speed after a couple of practice sessions. Here's what that looked like. I can play alright, but I can't answer basic questions. For example, I can play Entire Night by Ludovico Einaudi, but I can't answer which chords are used in it. Or if you asked me to place where is the F chord, I wouldn't know, even though I've probably played it multiple times throughout the song. And it would probably take me less than 10 minutes to learn what all the chords are. I just haven't felt a pressing need to do so. And given my objectives, I don't necessarily think I'm losing out anything here. Although I could be wrong on this one. So if you are a seasoned pianist watching this, do let me know in the comments what you think about this approach. I can't call myself an expert. Becoming an expert pianist in 6 months is a bit of a stretch. But if you're just trying to mimic expertise, that's a slightly different game, and I feel that is entirely doable. About the learning apps, they are a useful resource, nothing better than a well-prepared learning program, but there is a good chance that you will lose interest in piano and just give up midway. And this observation is confirmed by the fact that even in the paid courses or apps, most of the time the completion rate is abysmally low. So this was the first episode of Learning Experiment series in which I pick up new skills to learn and document my journey. Do let me know in the comments what skills you'd want me to pick in the future. Until next time, signing off, Vyom Bhushan.